Well, good morning. Welcome to Good Shepherd. Welcome to the home of the Lord. And welcome everybody online as you join us there for our new sermon series called Money Matters. For the next 3 weeks, we're going to explore money matters from 2 Corinthians chapter 8 and 9, where Paul is talking to us about money. You know, I think Paul received this letter from the Corinthian church there where he's currently at. And the letter goes something like this: Dear Pastor Paul, you're a great guy. We really like you. But we are not helping out and giving anything financially to the ministries of the church. We're not partaking in any way, shape, or form in the ministries of the church. We really like you and you're a nice guy, and have a nice day. But we're not helping. So what does Pastor Paul do? What does any pastor do when you get a letter like that? Well, Paul doesn't do what we would expect him to do. Paul doesn't bark out any kind of orders. He doesn't put a guilt trip on him. He doesn't become the capital campaign manager or the used car salesman. Paul refuses to manipulate or lay the law down on any of the people. Instead, he relies on the gospel, the good news of the free gift of salvation in Jesus Christ to change hearts. And he's trying to do that to us today, change our hearts. If you can just consider chapter 8 and 9 of 2 Corinthians, and you look in there, you will find that there are these three words mentioned 15 times, and they're gospel words: grace, love, and gift. 15 times Paul refers to these gospel words and says, that's what's going to change hearts. Paul concludes that this appeal, this financial appeal, in 2 Corinthians 9 at verse 15 says, thanks be to God for his indescribable gift. So what's the gift? What's the gift, the indescribable gift that Paul is talking about? The gift is Jesus. Jesus Christ. He's the indescribable gift. And never in 2 chapters does Paul ever mention the M word, money. He doesn't come up and try to do anything with that. Nothing about money. Never mentions it. Only these 3 words over and over again. 15 times he mentions them. Which brings us kind of to the truth of the day. When it comes to money, the heart of the matter is a matter of the heart. I'll say that again. When it comes to money, the matter of the heart of the matter is a matter of the heart. So in other words, my heart is the root and my money is the fruit. That's what Paul is telling us. My money is the fruit. My heart is the root. That's what he's telling us. So what's Paul all about here in 2 Corinthians chapter 8? He's certainly not about trying to manipulate people. What's he doing? Tells them right up front, I'm not commanding you. In other words, I'm still not trying to manipulate you. I'm still not laying the law down on you. I'm not laying a guilt trip on you at all, but I'm using those gospel words 15 times. Why would Paul do that? Why does Paul take the time to lay out these gospel words in 2 chapters? Because he says, I want to test the sincerity of your love by comparing it with the earnestness of others. Who are the others, Paul? Who are the others that Paul is talking about? Well, he's talking about the Macedonians. Those are the others that Paul is talking about. He's talking about the people of Thessalonica, the people of Berea, the people of Philippi. That's who Paul is referring to while he's down here in Corinth. Corinth is connected by this small little isthmus of land to the main continent of Greece. It's called, that little isthmus of land is called the Peloponnese. And this small little isthmus of land, that small little connection makes Corinth the Tokyo of its day, makes it the New York City of its day, makes it the London of its day, because everything north, south, east, and west comes through Corinth. And when it comes through Corinth, the Corinthians are becoming really, really rich. They have great wealth. In fact, the Corinthians, you could say, have an earning addiction. They have an addiction to one word: more. They want more of everything. More money, more success, more travel, more time, more luxuries, more. You name the more, and they want it. They have an appetite for more. We have an appetite for more. We haven't changed. We want more. We're no different than them. We want more stuff, more gizmos, more gadgets, more everything. But why would we want more? We're not serving financial dignity. We're actually serving financial deity. The more has become an idol for us. Money has become an idol because we believe if we have more money, we'll be like God. Be able to do what we want. Come and go where we want to go. Work if we want to work or not work. We can have all of the luxury or none of the luxury. It's all within that financial means. It's all within that financial grasp. We have a drive for more. We're addicted to more. We're no different than the drug addicts and alcoholics that are out there. Just one more little hit, just one more little shot. That's all I need, and that's how we are. We are addicted to the stuff. Leo Tolstoy, about 100 years ago, tells this story about a master and a peasant, where the master tells the peasant, I'll give you as much land as you can walk around in a day. It's yours, free and clear, no taxes, no nothing. You can have it. The peasant takes off. And he runs as fast as he can the whole day. And by the end of the day, he comes back exhausted and drops down dead right at the feet of the master. And that's exactly what the addiction does. What earning addictions do, they kill. It kills the Christian's faith. It kills people. It kills relationships. It kills marriages. It kills. It destroys. And we have become so small and so petty and so greedy people that we are just consumed with more, and it's killing us. Because we're not like the Macedonians. We're not even close to being like the Macedonian churches. We're not close to being like the people in the churches of Philippi and Thessalonica and Berea. These were awesome churches. Why are they awesome churches? Because the Macedonians gave willingly. The Macedonians gave freely. They weren't forced. They weren't coerced. They were not even, well, they were compelled. They gave willingly because of grace. Paul's appeal to them is an appeal of grace. He says, and now, brothers, we want you to know about the grace that God has given the Macedonian churches. So he tells to the Corinthians. And he goes on to talk more about this grace. For you know the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, that though he was rich, yet for your sake he becomes poor, so that you, through his poverty, might become rich. It's God's riches at Christ's expense. But what does that look like? Well, like this. Christ was cursed and we are blessed. Christ was bound and we are set free. Christ hung on a tree in darkness and we live in the light. Christ was acquainted with grief. We live in the fullness of his joy. And Christ was sentenced and condemned and we are acquitted and saved. Christ was crucified and yet we are justified by Christ's righteousness. Christ goes from riches to rags, and we go from rags to riches, to his eternal riches. I'll illustrate it this way. Concordia Seminary professor Reed Lessing went to Kisumu, Kenya on a mission in Africa, on a teaching mission with a sister seminary there. And he had only had a few $1,000s in his bank account, but he went on over to, he was there because he wanted to get some money out of the ATM machine in Kenya so he could buy a few gifts just to take back with him. And when he plugged his little card into the ATM machine, up comes this balance of $360,000. And he wonders, wow, where did all that money come from? I really need to come to Africa more often. And then he realizes, the money that's shown there on the screen isn't US dollars. It's Kenyan shillings. But what's the point of all that? My point is this. Our spiritual bank balance is astronomical. And why is that? Just one little word. grace. It's about God's riches at Christ's expense. It's about the grace. We're rich in forgiveness because of His grace. We are rich in peace because of His grace. We are spiritually fed and powerful because of His grace. Nothing. No darkness, no death, nothing. Not even the devil can separate us from His grace, from His love. That's why the Macedonians gave willingly. They gave joyfully. And they did it in this way. Out of the most severe trial, their overflowing joy and their extreme poverty welled up in rich generosity. For I testify that they gave as much as they were able, and even beyond their ability, entirely on their own. They urgently pleaded with us for the privilege of sharing in the service of the saints. That expression, extreme poverty. That could be translated as deep down debt. Or in today's language is, we hit rock bottom. We don't have any money to give. But the Macedonians, those people in Philippi, these awesome churches in Berea and in Thessalonica, didn't let their shortcomings financially short-circuit their giving. In fact, they go on. They even begged Paul for the opportunity to give more, to give beyond their means. I know people who often come up and say, Pastor, when my ship comes in, when I win that $90 million in the lotto, guess what? I'm going to give a whole bunch of it to the church. Who are they kidding? They're not giving now, and they're not going to be giving in the future. Even when they get all of that money when their ship comes in, they're not the Macedonians. The Macedonians who had the least amount to give, who could least afford to give, they are the ones who begged Paul for the opportunity to give and give beyond their means. They had been given God's riches at Christ's expense. That's why they gave wholeheartedly. They gave themselves first to the Lord and then to us, in keeping with God's will. In other words, they gave because they had a change of heart, which brings us right back to the truth of the day. When it comes to my money, the heart of the matter is a matter of the heart. So how does the Lord loosen up our heart? How does He grab and just take hold of your heart and just loosen it? He does it with one word. Grace. His amazing grace. That's how He does it. So what will it be for us? Are we going to have an earning addiction like the Corinthians, or are we going to have a giving conviction like the Macedonians? So I'm going to invite each and every one of you right now, more and more to become like the Macedonians, who gave willingly, who gave joyfully, who gave wholeheartedly. Then, what will happen when you give wholeheartedly? You won't have that letter to write of all the excuses of why you're not giving. You can just rip it up and throw it in the garbage. Because you give from the heart. Something that is a matter of the heart. Amen.